Knees and toes.
The shoulders have to do with anything?
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. We're
The
going.
noise is great for those who are audio only.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Monday, April 13th, 2026. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host, Phil. Episode 430. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective. And on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com. And look for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. This coming week, Phil's article will be coming out on Tuesday, breaking down the game we're about to talk over, but in more details of things that we do not cover on this episode. Wednesday, we got an interview with somebody from Oshawa. I'm recording it Monday. It'll be out on Wednesday, but because we're recording this before that interview, I've learned my lesson and I don't say names. So it's scheduled for Monday, though. Expect that on Wednesday. Power rankings and week 21, both of them final time this season, will be out on Thursday. If you want to participate in the people's picks, I'm tied with you. I caught you. I'm tied with you, people. Those will be out on... You can vote on X on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and on Instagram stories on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm catching all of you. Phil, I think I'm still 3 games back of you, so it's going to be very tough. But people's picks, I finally caught you. On today's episode, Buffalo versus Rochester reaction, week 20 review, and the Sabres' last 2 games, because remember, we recorded a day early last week. But we'll start with Buffalo Bandits, who are an absolute wagon. 7 wins in a row now. They have not lost since I did the quest for 9. It's absolutely insane. Which reminds me, here we go.
Oh, he is changing the sign. There he goes. We were quest to 9 is now up to 11. Got to the quest and blew past it.
I made the numbers even bigger now. That 11 is bigger than the 10.
Really see him. Well, as the numbers grow, they need to be bigger.
That's fair.
It's that much more exciting.
I should have started it like really small. Next year. But Buffalo does get the win, 12-9. I'm on a 3-game winning streak up in the box. 3-6. 12-6. There we go. Got it. I'm on a 3-game winning streak. That's how the number 3 was in my head.
There you go.
Up in the box now. They went from not ever winning to winning 3 in a row now. So you broke the drought for me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Being up there for Philly. That was a stinker for you. I think
it really
gave
hurt.
You the jinx to you, but it didn't really work because you were up there for Vancouver, and Vancouver
threw it right
lost 15-5. We're both the winning recipe now, apparently. Byrne with 3, McKay, Bucky, and Smith with 2, DeSnoo with an absolute rifle, Rezataris and Priolo each with 1. Vince continues to turn back time, 43 of 49 saves. Shots were 54-49 in favor of Buffalo. Faceoffs went Buffalo's way. Power plays, very uneven, but very similar. Rochester 1 for 5, Buffalo 1 for 1. It was 4-1 after 1, 7-4 at half, 10-5 after 3. Buffalo never trailed in this entire game. Phil, what's your overview thoughts on what we watched on Saturday night?
I thought for the first time in a very long time, and this is a good thing for Buffalo, it was honestly a mildly boring game. And we haven't had too many of those in Buffalo this year. I think in past years, you've gotten to play lesser opponents, crush them, and you're like, well, it was all right. Like, it was fun to watch them win, but it wasn't an exciting game. And even the 15-5 Vancouver win, there had fights. The atmosphere was electric the entire way through. This one, honestly, to me, it felt like Rochester didn't look nearly as desperate or motivated as I was expecting them to come out and be. I know Buffalo is on a tear right now, and they look really, really difficult to come in and face, but Rochester looked very lifeless. And I don't know. Like every time Buffalo had a punch, Rochester had absolutely no answer for anything Buffalo was doing. And then eventually the game just kind of fizzled out and Buffalo got further and further and further away. And then Rochester, again, just had no answers. And to me, the biggest thing continues to be, I think the offense looked great. I think Hartley was the only reason this game was remotely close. He played incredible. He was a lot of fun to watch, even though Buffalo put up 12. I think they easily could have had 20, and he made some monster saves. And my brother was absolutely loving all of his antics. He's so weird. I love watching Hartley play. There was one time he like trapped a ball, like tossed it in the air, caught it in his stick, and then went to go like I don't know. He's a wild man back there, but he's a lot of fun. But yeah, just every time Buffalo would do something, Rochester just had no response and just didn't look like the team I expected to come out and, with their playoff hopes on the line. I just thought it'd be a little bit closer. I think we both did, but Buffalo's defense and them being able to hold Rochester to just 6 goals. I mean, that was one of the big things we talked about going into this game was even though Rochester's been slumping, their offense continues to stay pretty good. To be able to hold them to just 6 was incredible.
Yeah, you were pretty close with your prediction. You had 12-9. You gave Rochester more
credit
hope
than they deserve.
Yeah,
apparently.
But I fully agree with everything you just said. It felt like almost Buffalo had more desperation than Rochester did. Rochester's won 1 game since they made the head coaching change. Randy Mearns kind of got put in a very near impossible situation, considering the goalie department that they've been dealing with and the back end issues that they've been having. But yeah, I definitely thought this would be a closer game. I had it 13-10, but it did feel like a team that just kept getting beat up and then losing more and more hope. And they said it in the press conference. This feels like a Buffalo Bandits team that's finally got their swagger back. Like back-to-back weeks, you're seeing the celebrations after the goals. You're seeing, the plays on defense, hyping everybody up. It definitely feels like this team has not just gotten hot when they need to, but has remained hot this entire win streak. This is back-to-back convincing wins. Like this was a game where even when Rochester got it within 3 or got it within 4, it never felt like they had that extra oomph to get it going. And that whole fourth quarter, it was, okay, let's just make sure we get out of this one. And they didn't, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the biggest change on this one was you were expecting Nanticoke in. He wasn't. He must have gotten injured either in the morning shoot-around or the practice the day before because he wasn't on the injury report going into that practice. Or I should say, he wasn't on the injury report coming out on Friday. That was a bit of a surprise. They went with 6 forwards instead of the typical 7 forwards. And all I will say is they've done that 6 times this year. And I am messing up numbers left and right today. They went 6 forwards 3 times this season, and all 3 times they've had a player go down. I would stop doing that. Not just because you're forced to put McCannell out there the first time, and then Dylan Robinson the last 2 times. That it hurts the offense, but luckily it's been in the second half both times. But it's just that unluckiness now. Like,
yeah, yep.
You lose one body up there and you're down to 5 forwards. As much as I think that the offense has looked fantastic when you do have 6 forwards out there, don't hear what I'm not saying. I think it looks really, really good. The forwards get extra time on the field, so Dane gets more opportunities, and McKay and Byrne and so on and so forth. But one injury and you're like, ooh, this is so scary. But yeah, I that was the biggest thing to keep an eye on. The Nick Weiss injury, we kind of clued in on it on Wednesday by saying like he might not be playing. They might use this as precaution, or it could be something else related to that fight at the end of the Vancouver game. So keep an eye on that. He was also out. Connor Farrell did come back. You saw Taylor Dooley get reinserted. But yeah, this was a game where it felt like Buffalo was the better team. They showed it. They got the win and kind of just took any will from Rochester early on in that game. And 100%, like you said, this game could have been 18, 19, 20-6 if it weren't for Hartley. Like this is back-to-back weeks where the scoreline could have been much worse if it weren't for the good goaltending that they got. And that's what stinks about Rochester is you finally get a good goaltending performance, like better than you've gotten in the past, but you're getting no help. Like Buffalo's offense was coming wide open many times in the middle. Hartley had no opportunities, and then their offense just went to sleep and couldn't beat Buffalo's defense. So I guess with that, we'll transition to the offense. And this is a back-to-back weeks where we're finally seeing that reverse transition from this offense getting back, causing turnovers, wrecking havoc. I mean, there were multiple times where it was great back-to-back opportunities. The first one was by Ian McKay, just throwing the stick out, getting that, and getting an opportunity. And the second one was along the boards where I believe it was Dane Smith pinned him against the boards, and I think it was Bucky got the loose ball and got the cause turnover there, and both good looks in the third quarter. Like, this is back-to-back weeks. This is the reverse transition, dangerous opportunities that we've been expecting from this offense, and we're finally getting it back-to-back weeks. I've really liked it. I think the other thing is this is back-to-back weeks where the goal droughts weren't massive. Like the two games before it versus Saskatchewan and San Diego, you were getting 40 minutes of just like two goal action. This one, the longest goal droughts were 12:09 between goals 10 and 11 going into the fourth quarter, and 9:09 between goals. I'm sorry, 7 minutes between goals 3 and 4, and 9:09 between 7 and 8. Like, I'll take that. I'll take that any day, because that means, you're going to have big goal spurts in those times, especially here where you're putting up 3, 4, 5 goals in a 5-minute stretch there. But the goal droughts aren't going on for 20, 25 minutes. So I think that they finally figured out the right recipe for this offense. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do as a tune-up game in Oshawa, which is also very important because you right now you're the number 3 seed. If you drop that one, you can tumble all the way down. So it's another must-win if you want a home game.
The Bandits were 4-6.
4-6 in the 10th spot. It's insane. And they have a chance to be the number 1 seed.
Yeah. The fact that, going into the last week, and again, it's a long shot, but the fact that they have a chance to be the number 1 seed, that's even a possibility, is insane. But the offense has looked really, really good recently, even without Nanticoke, and that's not a shot at him. Obviously, I think the offense would be better with him in there, but seeing the chemistry and everything that they've built the last few games, they look like a bit of a different offense. They look like everybody's gelling. Even McKay being a full-time forward again, he's looked really, really good in his role up there, as we expected. But to see him kind of have that come to fruition is great. Even though Rezataritz only had the 1 goal, he had so many good looks in this game. And yes, Hartley was there to stuff most of them, but you want to see those opportunities happening. He had 9 shots on goal. He looked good out there, and him and the connection with Dane looked really good and solid. So even though he only got 1 goal, you want to see those opportunities just exist in the world, and hopefully they start falling a little bit more as things go on. I know there's only 1 regular season game, but if they fall in playoffs, that works too. But Dane and Josh look incredible, look really good. The whole offense looks really good. If Scanlon hopefully is not injured long term.
That's the other.
Yes.
Did you get a better angle than it looked like a non-contact on his?
It looked like a rolled ankle. He
Yeah.
was out there giving his jersey up for the jersey off your back season ticket holder thing. He was limping quite a bit, but he wasn't taped or anything. He was just out there in flip flops walking. And honestly, I was like, get that man off the field. But the fact that he's walking is good. But at the same time, we saw Ian McKay come back in a game and then he was out for weeks. So just because he was walking means that the adrenaline hadn't worn off, means the swelling hasn't exploded yet. Today would be the day you want to check in on Scanlon and see what he's doing. His ankle might be quite big. So hopefully it's not anything major. I really doubt we'll see him in the next game because it's a tune-up game. I know they need to win it, but you're not going to risk him. You need him for playoffs. And as I was thinking about him going down, again, the left side is very shallow, and I know he doesn't score a ton, but he does score goals, and what he does bring is something, again, that's pretty hard to replace with anyone else on the team. I know Hendricks is good at mucking up the lanes, but Scanlon brings a different feel to what he's been doing. I think his confidence has been growing the whole season. So I saw him go down, like immediately I was trying to think, okay, who are you replacing him with? And there really is no one on the team right now that I would say is a comfortable 1-for-1. You want him out there, so hopefully he's okay. But overall, the offense looked really good. I thought Hartley played out of his mind to keep it the score that it was. I thought he looked really good, but the offense as a whole is buzzing right now.
Yeah, even with Scanlon. I mean, he might not have scored, but he had 4 on top of the goalie opportunities in this one. I was counting them. It was insane. Just he couldn't get it by
Yeah.
right. He can't buy a goal the last few weeks. I know he scored last week, but the amount of opportunities that man gets slipping the picks and getting inside right on top of the goalie, and the goalie just bails. It's
And when
insane.
it comes to playoffs, like that one goal he might be
Yep.
able to slip in, that could be the difference in the entire game. So you need him getting those opportunities. Even him just being a threat to do that draws attention away from McKay and Byrne. Yes, they're obviously still the main focus, which is why he's getting those opportunities. But the more and more he can do that, eventually teams are going to be like, okay, well, we have to keep an eye on him as well, which frees up, even if it's just a half a step of space for Byrne, that's all he needs to shoot from the outside. So missing Scanlon would be huge. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do not expect to see him next week, even if the ankle is all good or
Yep.
the knee. We both believe it's the ankle, but even if it's perfectly fine, I think that they give him a week's rest. I would also monitor Ian McKay because it looked like he twisted his ankle at some point as well in the first quarter, played through it. It looked like he might have tweaked it again another part where he went down just on one knee. It was like, that hurt. So I would keep an eye on him as well. So they didn't get out of it unscathed in this big type game. And it's two pieces, especially on the left side. The left side's been hurting them because of all the injuries. But yeah, I mean, when you're looking at the lefties, 5, 6, and 11, 22 shots on net, 13 loose balls, and 2 caused turnovers. For the righties, 5, 11, and 16, 28 shots on net, 11 loose balls. So it was pretty spread out between both sides. Both sides got 5 each. Then the assists were the balloon stat there. But I think that, and this is why we said it a couple weeks ago, you want to see, and going into the Vancouver game, you want to see those 7 forwards out there to get the chemistry and see what each other's got and get in the right rhythm going into playoffs. And we were seeing that. We probably won't see that in the Oshawa game, but these 2 games back to back of what the offense was able to do, putting up 27 goals, makes me feel very comfortable with the makeup of this offense going into playoffs, especially considering what we saw the 2 games before that. And I know Rezataris was getting worked in. Ian McKay wasn't a full-time forward back there. So you got to factor that stuff in, but still. But the 2 goals I really want to talk about is the Priola one in transition. Man, turn back time. I mean, literally spinning in transition. It was a nice fake first, then the spin, then the fadeaway shot just to pick the corner. Absolutely beauty to make it 5-1. And then the Ian McKay one. I mean, it was a great pick. He frees up Bucky, and it's saved, but McKay sees that wide open shot. That's why I think that's one element of his game that hasn't been there this season, is those opportunities right in front of the net. He hasn't been cashing in those ones where he's streaking across that we saw so much last year. Now it seems like he's getting there. I mean, he cashed it in wide open in front of the net, and that was a big one to make it 7-3. So I think those 2 were big time goals in this one. And then obviously the Mitch Desnew one from 175 feet away, just on a dime, didn't even touch the ground. Like, if that net was another 100 feet away, I still don't think it would have went in on a bounce. It was just, I saw the shot. I was like, what is he doing? And then it just picks the corner. I was like, oh, that's what he's doing. It was a fantastic game by the offense in general.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, I don't know if have you ever seen a shot like that in the NLL? I know we see it in the NHL all the time when they're trying to ice a game. They'll just throw it down there and they'll hope they get the empty netter. In the NLL, I think it's because you don't want to give up that time. Like, time is more important in the NLL than I think it is in the NHL, where if you can just clear the zone, it's a big.
What's weird is that wasn't even like a clear, though. That was like, I'm scoring.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because that thing would have hit off the boards.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it just doesn't happen in the NLL as much. But with the score, with what it was, he was like, you know what? I'm just going to whip an empty netter. And yeah, that was a rifle of a shot. I do wonder if the score is similarly far apart if we see that a little bit more often in the NLL, because I do love it, but I feel like they're so focused on wasting that 30 seconds of the shot clock versus trying to get that extra goal. I mean, how many times have we even seen a wide open empty net and Priola will just pull up and he won't take the goal, he'll take the 30 seconds instead. I feel like the time is just that much more important in the NLL than it is in the NHL, especially if you have a timeout still and you get all that. There's so many nuances, but to see him just rifle that shot was incredible, and I'd love to see it again.
Yeah, so if you listen to Steve Priolo on OTCB last week, they were asking him, like, what kind of stat collection do people want? And I heard him. I heard you loud and clear. We tweeted it out. He wanted to know shot clock violations for each team because he was like, you can't really do that for the players on the field, but you can do that as like a team-based thing.
Team stat, yep.
It ended up being tied 6-6 in shot clock violations, but I believe 2 of the ones for Buffalo that, Rochester quote unquote caused were because Buffalo was milking the clock and they just tossed it to the corner. But Buffalo had 6 of them on defense, and that's going to be a stat that I collect the rest of the season, and I'm making note. I'm going to collect it next year for Steep Roll. It's only going to be for Buffalo and who they face because I'm not doing it for the entire league unless they're willing to pay me. But for Buffalo and whoever they're facing that week, I will collect that for Steep Roll, and at the end of the year, he can have his total for his team defense. But I thought, it made me feel very good inside. And I know JT even mentioned this in his press conference that he's been trying to sprinkle in Taylor Dooley and Carter Coffey and all those guys. There's just too many numbers to get in the rotation there. And I know I had been giving him a hard time, but I like Taylor Dooley. Like, he just had his best performance and he doesn't see the field again, and Carter Coffey gets it. Again, no shot at Carter Coffey. But I didn't understand it. And then the first shift, or like the first or second shift that he's out there, insane. He picks up the loose ball, found Dane. Dane got a good opportunity. Got the loose ball again, found Mickey for a great opportunity, and then got the loose ball and pulled it out again. Like 3 loose balls in the offensive zone after leading the transition. It just made me feel good inside that I was right. Like, I'm not right very often. Like, the percentages of things that I say on this show that end up being a correct call or a correct take, I've got to be sitting around like 3 or 4%. But the times I hit it, I feel awesome. And I feel like the smartest guy in the world. But it just felt good to see that, okay, what I was seeing a couple weeks ago where I thought he had his best performance in the NLL, that has already carried over to the next game. And he even got a shout out in the press conference by JT saying like a big reason why Connor Fields was held scoreless in this one was because Taylor Dooley was out on hands the entire time. He loved how, I really do think, and maybe I'm way off of this one, I think that Taylor Dooley can develop into a defender similar to JT, where he's not going to put up these big whopping stats, but he's going to be able to lock down some of the better defenders who are lefties.
You're trying to say Justin Martin?
Yeah. Who did I say?
You said JT.
JT mentioned in the press conference, but yes, I think he can be a defender
like
Justin
Tavares
Martin.
was a good two-way player.
No, that's my bad. I got a bit of a headache, so I'm all over the place. But yeah, I think he can be a righty version of Justin Martin out there with a bit more speed in the transition game. So he might pick up a few more loose balls than Justin Martin ever did, but I do think that he's the type of defender that can do that. And again, this is 3 or 4 games in a row that I have not noticed him out there for a good reason on defense. I really like it. You notice Dylan Robinson up on the top penalty kill unit. I thought he played really well. He's a bit more active by stick movement, I would say, than Nick Weiss is. Nick Weiss is a little wild card trying to take those chances every once in a while. But I think Dylan Robinson is a much better stay-at-home defender that's got a much more active stick, and it's tougher to get those cross passes right by him. And then Zed Williams was playing out the back door in the second half. I thought that was a drastic, bad decision by Rochester. Zed Williams was pretty much the only thing really working on the offense. And I know we only ended up, I believe, with 1 goal. But the punishment that he was causing the defenders, how he was getting in Ian McKay's head, like those two were going back and forth all game long. I thought they should have used Zed Williams to back down Buffalo's defense a bit more and get right in front of Matt Vince, because he was really the only offensive player that could do that. And I think pushing him on the back end, running him a bit in transition and staying and playing a bit was, I'm not saying that it would have been a difference, but it might have been a bit of a closer game and more an interesting game if they would have kept Zed Williams out the front door and making him more of a focal piece on offense. I thought that was a bad decision by Rochester.
Yeah, I'll go back to Dooley real quick. I agree. I thought he had a really, really great game. And I think it goes to show what is tough about Buffalo. And I think Lucas Nielsen's proving it over in Philly, that Buffalo has an insane amount of veteran players, and they have a very specific system where a player like Dooley, who was 15th overall, very highly drafted, Buffalo loves him, can barely get into a game, but you see what he could bring if he was a full-time player. So if he's on any other team in the league, that needs a defender to be in their starting roster, he could be already have his name known throughout the league as a pretty good up-and-coming defender. But with Buffalo, he can barely crack the lineup, and that's not a shot at him. It's just they have such a veteran group that is just everyone has their spot. Everything's kind of there. We've been talking about this for years when it goes to the offseason where they have all these draft picks and we're like, there's nowhere for them to go on this roster. It's always full. And I think Dooley's just a great example. And Nielsen, again, in Philly, he's a great example where these younger players on Buffalo can't really excel because they aren't given the chance to. And it's not because they're bad. It's because Buffalo is beyond stacked and has won 3 championships in a row, has been to 5 championships. Like, there's no room on their roster to really crack these young guys in. They try to, like you said, but JT said, they try to sprinkle them in when they can, but getting 1 or 2 games or 4 games a year isn't a great way to build your career. Yes, you're getting in practice, but it's not the same, obviously, as getting a full season of game time. So I feel like these high draft picks for Buffalo are almost in their development just behind the other draft picks that are maybe even higher or around the same spot, but are getting consistent play every single time, every single game, every single year, because Buffalo just doesn't have the space and these other teams do. So you see what Dooley is slowly coming along to be. And I think Buffalo's always liked him. I think we've always liked him, but you can see the progression in his game as he's getting a little bit more time in the game, in the active NLL, and you can just see his progression, whereas on another team, he might have already played a full 18-game season and his development would be a little bit farther along, but Buffalo just doesn't really have that space. But him and Coffey, especially for years moving forward, look like they could be very big parts of this team, and I like what they are both bringing. But as for Buffalo's defense and Matt Vince, they've been insane on this stretch recently. In Buffalo's last 3 games, they tied Saskatchewan's worst offensive output by allowing only 7. They gave Vancouver their worst offensive output of the year by allowing 5, and then they tied Rochester's worst, allowing 6. Add in the 8 goals by San Diego, and the fact that dating all the way back to February 14, there's only been 1 team, which was the Warriors, that scored more than 10 goals against them. They've been so incredibly consistent. And again, going into this game, this is one of the things we talked about where I don't think either of us thought that Buffalo was going to lose this game by any means, but we thought Rochester's offense had a good chance to put up double digits because that's just what they do. And then being able to hold them to just 6 goals and make their offense look lifeless was just another showing of how dominant Buffalo really has been in these last 7 games.
Yeah, Bud Bailey gave the stat in the press conference of this is the lowest 3-game output that they've allowed their opponents, which is only 18 in the franchise history. That's fantastic. I would like to know if, because I know he's got the stats on hand, so maybe I'll send him a DM and find out. I wonder if this is the lowest 5-game as well, or the longest 7-game. Like they're on an insane run, what they did. And we even said like special teams might play a big factor into this. The penalty kill held them to 1 for 5, and Rochester was a pretty stinking good power play unit going into this one. I think they were towards the top of it as well, if I remember correctly from what we said on the Friday show. But that right there, if they go, I don't know, 4 for 5 or 3 for 5, who knows what the difference in this game might have been. But I absolutely loved what they were able to do. I mean, they have 12 block shots and 11 caused turnovers versus 8 block shots and 7 caused turnovers for Rochester. That's kind of the difference that we compare here.
Power play is 2nd in the league,
there
just behind Buffalo.
I figured it was higher. But yeah, I mean, Fields held scoreless, 0 for 7 shooting, just 4 assists. McConvey, 0 for 7 shooting, 1 assist. Lefties went 2 for 18 shooting. The righties, Smith went 1 for 9. Waters had 4 shots on net. Lanchberry 1 for 10. Williams 1 for 6. The righties went 3 for 29 shooting. Like, they were able to clog up the lanes, not let them get to the middle. This is a team that likes to shoot the ball from further out over top of screens, and you were able to just get out on hands and not let them have any opportunities, like no breathing space. And again, it goes back to not their change into their defensive philosophy, but more of their adjustments to what they were doing earlier on in the season of letting guys get right on top of Matt Vince. And everybody's saying like Matt Vince, his time finally caught up to him. And we're like, no, it's just the shots he's facing is just insane. They're not giving him, they're limiting the shots that he's seeing, but the shots that he's seeing are right on top of him. And I think I've said that on every single episode for a long time now, but we're finally seeing it. 43 saves, and really the only negatives I have for this defense are just silly mental mistakes. Like Dawson had the block shot, and I thought Dawson again played pretty well, but then he runs behind the net and gets pinned against the boards, and then it's an 8-second clock because nobody can get it over. It too many times where he picks up the loose ball and his instant reaction is to go behind the net. That's fine, but you got to look for the open guy when you're going behind the net, not just stand there and get pinned against the boards. McCannell, I mean, he's running up the middle and then he's getting pushed over half and just tosses it up the middle. And then Whitty, just a horrible pass, leads to Rochester another chance in the third quarter. So if they are able to clean that up, and again, those are just mini mistakes and they're mental mistakes and putting themselves in a bad position to turn the ball over and give Rochester secondary opportunities. And that's what we were saying is this offense in Rochester is very good at getting second and third chances. You got to limit those. And I think those were opportunities back there that Buffalo was not able to limit. But looking at the goalies here, I thought both goalies played phenomenal, but Matt Vince was just getting better shot selection that the defense was allowing him to see. That fourth one, I mean, that was a big challenge win by Buffalo to keep Rochester's fourth goal off the board, because if not, you're looking at a 5-4 game. It'd be a little bit more dicey, but I'll get into it in a minute. I didn't really like Connor Farrell's game in this one. I thought there were way too clean breaks for right off the faceoff dot, and this one almost happened except for the player running right through the crease. But no goals the final 13-20. There was just 2 goals the final 34-23, and just 3 goals the final 40-52. Like, Matt Vince, once the second and third quarter hit, he just turns it on and it's like, I'm not letting anything by me. And the defense locks it down. Like, the run that these guys are on right now is just insane. If they keep this up, I wouldn't doubt if they're hoisting a 4th championship. Like, that's what type of run this defense and Matt Vince are playing on.
Yeah, Vince with another ridiculous save percentage performance at 87.8. And I do think a lot of it, like you said, comes down to shot selection. Yes, the saves were high and the shots, honestly, for a team that shoots as much as they do in Rochester, they were really far down, and Buffalo was out shooting them for most of the game. And then as the game went on, Rochester got a little bit more desperate, and that's when you see the shots go up. But I think at that point, the shot selection goes down because you're just trying to whip anything you can at the net. So even though Vince had another incredible game, not going to take anything away from him, I think the defense gave him everything he's looking for. So the 43 saves seems a bit high, but I think most of those were relatively routine for Matt Vince. I think he still had plenty of big saves here and there, but I think he's continually getting the looks that he wants. And I think these last 2 games by far to me have been the best we've seen Buffalo in a really long time. Between the offense and the defense looking as elite as they have, these last 2 games have been near flawless performances. And I think Priolo even mentioned on his podcast that the game against Vancouver might have been one of the best games Buffalo has ever played. And I think you and I both believe if they play Vancouver again, probably not going to see that good of a game. But the overall stretch run that Buffalo's on is great. But these last 2 games, for them to be, part of the 6th and 7th game of this run, and you're seeing them continue to get better and better. It's not like they started the run really hot and now you're starting to see overtime wins or 1-goal wins. Like, it's getting worse and a little bit tighter. You're seeing them continue to grow and continue to get even better and more elite as this run has gone on. And I think, like you said, that's pretty horrifying for the rest of the league.
Yeah, we'll go over the 6 goals. And again, thank you, defense and Matt Vince, because it's been lovely going over this one. And I know a lot of people do like that we break these individual goals down against to prove that every time the ball goes by, it's not always the goalie's fault. The first one, Zed Williams, come open. It was just an unlucky opportunity. I mean, he shot it off the post, off Matt Vince and in, makes it 2-1, and that's pretty much as close as Rochester would get the rest of the game. Lanchbury, Dylan Robinson just completely loses him. He's wide open, great shot, far side post, just fantastic to make it 5-2. Blaze on the power play, it was great passing, went low to high, and Matt Vince still almost got to the inside post, but Blaze beat him there. Fourth one, Pacino in transition. Guys were all out of sorts, didn't really know who the open man was. I believe it was still 3-on-3 down there, but you also had Josh Byrne playing defense down there. It was just a mess and a bit unlucky. That's kind of what happens in transition, but it felt like Buffalo was always one pass behind. And I think Belter was like half a second away from getting to Pacino as well. And he fooled me like that. that attempt at trying to draw one of those penalties of getting cross-checked. It fooled me until I saw the replay, and then I saw like the acting a bit more, but it got me. It got me, Zach. I was fooled. Fifth one, Smith. It was a great steal by Zed. Wires and McKay beats Vince. That was a great shot on the post. It made it 9-5, and then the 6-1 Blaze, it was off a save. Ball bounces straight up in front, and Vince can't really find it. Priolo kind of loses where Blaze even is after the shot, and he's able to scoop and score really easy, make it 10-6. But overall, I thought they were kind of just, besides, the Dylan Robinson and maybe even the Pacino one, I thought it was better plays by the offense than any breakdowns on defense or Matt Vince. I thought overall, 3 goals on defense and 3 goals with Rochester. I thought it was pretty stinking good defensive game that carried over from the Vancouver game and the Saskatchewan game and the San Diego game. Like, they've just been on an absolute tear.
Yeah, it's really hard to discredit anything that Buffalo is doing right now. They've just been so just on a different level. And again, we see even Dooley coming in who looked great. Like, you see a rotation of guys. Like, we talked about how great this game was. It was without Nanakoke, one of your best forwards. It's without Nick Weiss, one of your best defenders. And other players step into the system, know the system, step up, and play amazing. And for them to be missing the players they were and still come out against a desperate team and put up the game they did, again, I think just shows where this team is physically and also mentally. Like you said, they're just kind of asserting their dominance right now over whoever the heck their opponent is.
Yeah, we'll go over the penalties really quick. I had no issues with any of them. The Byrne holding one, Zed got inside. He held him and kind of pulled him down. It was a great play by Zed, and it was just a penalty. Dylan Robinson, right call. He got him right in the head. It was the right call. I don't know what he said to go into the bench, but man, I'm shocked that Priolo also didn't get one, because they were both chirping at the refs the whole way to the bench, or the penalty. They misconduct, just can't do it, especially in the playoffs. Priolo slashing, no replay, so I can't really comment on that one. And the McCannell one, delay game, acting like a goalie, just the third time this season Buffalo's been called for that. So you can make any rules you want. Apparently it's not stopping Matt Vince in this Buffalo defense.
Or the shot blocking either.
Yeah, or the shot blocking, because that continues to be absolutely insane. But what were your
thoughts? I do wish that they would call the acting like a goalie a separate penalty. Like, why? I don't know why we have to
why
call
is it called delay of game, acting
like
a goalie? Just
call it its own separate penalty. It's a new rule, and you just lumped it in as delay of game. It's not a delay of game. Like, it's just it's a weird, like, I don't know, just going through the box score and you're like, oh, delay of game. Like, was that, like, what do you do after a dead ball? Like, it's not, just make it its own thing.
Yeah,
like, it's
I agree.
A weird thing to lump it under as well. Like, of all the, I don't know, rules to throw it in, like, delay game, sure.
Yeah. We'll wrap this up with the miscellaneous. I thought it was a very good challenge by JT and Eric Vince with the video screen over there. He's part of the reason why they've been so successful with the challenges, is he's got the iPad right in hand, figuring out when to challenge, when not. But I also want to give credit to the refs. That was super fast. Like, that might be one of the fastest reviews that we've seen in a very long time. So hats off to them. Todd LeBranche, he's retiring after this year, so major shout out to him. But yeah, I thought overall miscellaneous, great game. I didn't like Connor Farrell's game. I thought Jeremy Thompson, who's not one of the best defense or face-off guys in the league anymore, he's kind of past his prime with that. I thought I almost wish I would have seen Dylan Robinson in there, because you're not winning those clean draws versus Dylan Robinson, where Connor Farrell was winning some clean draws, but it went the other way as well. Like, I think when you're going against two face-off men, you kind of, once you get the clamp, you can go really quick. I almost prefer when you're mucking it up, even if you don't win it, because then you're not getting opportunities on the way back really quick. And there were many of those in this game. But the only other thing I got with this one, and it's kind of what we titled the last episode, I don't want to go into it too much because it's the rest of the season and they're at a home game right now. But Josh Byrne flat out said in the press conference that no matter what is the outcome of this season, some of the veterans will not be back. And I know which veterans he's talking about. He didn't flat out say it. There was even some discussion in the press conference of like, hey, who are they talking about? And we're like, well, it could be any of these guys. We know who he's talking about, but just to let him say that made me sad. So it makes me want them to kind of figure out the rest of the season here and kind of go out the way they kind of came in. But yeah, just putting that out there. So if you do have a home game and you want to see these guys, might be one of the last times. And that's why I was trying to like up in the press box, you got to remain like calm, no clapping, all that kind of stuff, impartial. But I made sure I would stop my notes when I saw Mad Vince running out on the floor because I was like, is this the last time you see him come out of that tunnel and that sprint and then the fist bump to Josh Burns? So I made sure I stopped my notes and watched it because I was like, this might be the last time you see it. I know I'm going to Oshawa, so I'm not even gonna see it there because he doesn't run out of the tunnel there. But I was like, I got to take this in because this might be one of the last times. So I kind of saw it coming. The writing was on the wall, but hearing like a finale of it, I was like, oh no. And again, we don't know exactly who he's talking about, but you kind of do. It's like, it's a bad kept secret.
Even, obviously Vince is the huge one and Dawson, but even Buchanan and everything he's done this season, like he's about to have a 30-goal season on top of everything he already does. Like they're just not replaceable. And we've talked about it so much that when the league continually hears that Matt Vince is coming back to Buffalo, like, oh, come on, like not again. And to hear that it might be finally over, real sad, pretty depressing, but take it in. And like you said, hopefully they complete their mission. One of their missions was to get a home playoff game, and we'll go over that in a little bit, but they got a lot of help in that area. I know helping themselves by a big win, but they got a lot of help around the league as well.
Yeah,
Sorry,
this is not a me trying to make that a negative type of thing or like a worry type of thing. It's just recognizing where
it's
they're
getting
at
more
right
and
now.
more real than we would like to admit.
Yeah, just appreciate what you got because we've said it multiple times. The Andy quote from The Office: "I wish I knew I was in the good times until they were past." You're pretty close to being past the good times now, guys. So enjoying what you got right now, but some milestones to get hit. Ian McKay now has a new career high in points. Dylan Robinson has a new career high in points as well. Kyle Buchanan, I'm glad they recognized this on the broadcast. I thought they've been doing a very good job the last few years of recognizing big milestones. He's up and over 700 points for his career. Dane Smith is past Sean Evans for fourth place in assists. I know, Swanee had to correct it. It was assist. It wasn't points. He caught himself. Ian McKay tied Chris Cloutier in goals, so he's tied for 10th right now. Dane Smith he's tied with Mark Stainhouse for second in goals for Buffalo Bandits. Kyle Buchanan passed Chris Cloutier for 9th place in assists for Buffalo Bandits. Cam Wires is now tied with both Josh Byrne and David Brock. Yeah, I went all season reading that, and now Cam Wires is tied with him. Dane Smith is now in 10th, and then Josh Byrne is in 11th in a single season points for the Buffalo Bandits because Dane Smith is 1 point ahead of Josh Byrne in that category. So yeah, there you go. Not 1 point, but it's a lot more than 1 point. But Dane Smith and then Josh Byrne is in 11th.
Few things off of that. One, it is understandable to think that over 800 assists could be seen as points because that is
stupid
insanity. You shouldn't have that many assists alone, let alone points in a career. But also Ian McKay, I think that's pretty underrated and understated that he just got his highest points in his career. I know he just made a switch to full-time forward, but I think you and I have been very harsh on him this season, and there's been times where he's disappeared, and there's times where he's looked really good. But the big thing with him this year was, could he repeat what he did last year now that teams know he's coming? He's going to be a big part of this offense. He's going to be a threat. No Chris Cloutier. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him. So to see him step up the way he has, and he's done it now in 15 games, already gotten his season best. And I know he was out for a few with injury, so he's got one more game. So it'll be 2 less games. If he even plays in the next game, he might not. So this could be his end, but even still, he got his new career high in points in less games than he had last year. So I think him being able to repeat what he did last year and even exceed it with the bigger pressure on him, and even missing a few games because of injury, playing some games out the back door, playing a little bit of two-way game, like everything he's dealt with this season, I think it's very underrated what he's still being able to do as an offensive player. And I don't think he's getting the credit he does, and nobody on Buffalo ever will when you have Dane and Josh at the top of the entire league doing what they do. But he's meant so much to that left side with Chris Goucher out for the year, obviously signing somewhere else. But Ian McKay was going to need to be that guy this year, and I think he's done a really nice job, even in spite of playing a little bit of extra defense here and there and being injured for a little bit as well.
Yeah, his playmaking ability has definitely stepped up this season with the assist total. He's not just the guy that you can rely on for the goals. He's relied on for points in general. But we'll move on. Across the league, a lot of things went Buffalo's way. The first one did not. Toronto wins in Ottawa 10-6, putting Ottawa's playoff hopes in big jeopardy. Pushes Toronto even further up, but they win 10-6. Phil, what are your thoughts on this one, quick?
Yeah, Ottawa's in trouble. With Mark Matthews out, I think the rookies struggled a little bit, but Dawick, Bushi, and Rose, the veterans of that team, definitely saved Toronto's day and got them the big victory. But Ottawa, they're in trouble at this point. If they don't make it, my goodness, that is an issue.
Yeah, look what happens when you play Rosie, Matt Sawyer.
He's pretty good.
Imagine where you could be if you didn't start Holochuk again. Not his problem, not his fault, but you didn't start him on a lazy Philly Sunday morning. Whatever, they're winning. They got 11 wins. He's going to keep his job, and I get to keep harping on him over and over and over because I don't think he's a good coach. But yeah, we'll move on. Yeah, if Ottawa misses this one, when does Jeff Teat want out? Like, how much are you going to go through your prime of your career and just keep missing playoffs over and over and over and over? And not good. The game that followed, Vancouver gets the win 8-7 in a much closer game than both of us thought it would be. It was almost a tie game, but Jameson's foot came down in the crease. Phil, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I thought Vancouver was going to come out a lot more intense and just stronger in this game than they ended up doing. I think pretty much everybody had them marked for I wouldn't say easy win because Halifax is still fighting for playoffs. They're still very desperate, but a good win in Vancouver, and they almost did not get it. And it was pretty ugly by that team again. I'm not worried about Vancouver. I think they can still put it together, but the offense has now struggled in a few games here, and either teams are starting to figure out what they're doing, they need to adjust something, or there've just been a couple off games. But to have to come back the way they did in Vancouver against Halifax after getting embarrassed in Buffalo, not a great look, but they got the win that they need.
Yeah, if Warren Hill doesn't make the playoffs,
yeah, Hill played
feel so bad for him.
Insane.
51 saves, 59 shots. He's having such a great season, and Halifax might not make playoffs, and it's got nothing to do with him. We'll move on. Saturday, first game. Calgary takes down Oshawa in the revenge of last week, 14-7. Goalie change in this one. Aiden Walsh gets pulled. Bowman goes in and shuts it down. Oshawa was actually leading when that happened, but yeah, Calgary shows they got some offensive skill. Calgary, if they add a couple pieces on the back end and Aiden Walsh plays how he has this season, I really think that Calgary could be, and Pat Gregoire kind of mentioned it already, I think they could be a 7-8-9 type of team next year where they're fighting for playoffs.
Yeah, they've had a lot of really close losses against really strong teams, and that's with a team that is still trying to build and kind of find their identity and figure everything out. And Walsh may be their guy, but Bowman, 37-38, that is ridiculous. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. That's an insane stat line for a goalie.
Saturday, Philly goes out and just dominates. Credit to the fans for showing up. The whole lower bowl sold out. I think they got up and over 10,000 fans. They sent this team off very well, and they showed this is ownership. This ain't fans. I think it's a combo of both. The fans knew the team was there. They didn't really show up, but also they weren't getting any help from their ownership group. So I would put 85 to 90% on ownership, and then sprinkle in that the team hasn't been very good. And the fans kind of, not that they didn't show up, but you didn't see 10,000 fans every week. If you did, maybe the owners would be a bit different. But again, I'm putting all the majority of the blame on the owners. But Philly comes out and just dominates Las Vegas 11-5. Nick Damoud, holy crap, man. 60 saves. I think that's the sixth highest, if I remember what Grant Perot put out there. But
6th or 7th, yes.
It's insane. 60 saves, 65 shots. Vegas needed this win to try to it's just insane. Like all the teams that are fighting for those last, it's like
They
nobody
all
wants to
lost.
make playoffs.
Yeah.
It's insane. Philly and Nielsen 4-3-7. Like we
That's what I'm
weren't
saying.
we weren't trashing Lucas Nielsen whatsoever. Like we thought that was a win for both teams. You were getting a young guy, more opportunity in Philly. He just wasn't going to be able to play that role. It's kind of like Connor Fields, like to a much smaller
Yes.
degree here. His role with this team wasn't fitting the type of player that he was on the field. So sending him to Philly, you're seeing what he can do. 4 for 10 shooting, he's been lighting up the lamp, and Philly got a good one out there.
Yeah, he might turn into one of the better young stars of this game. And I think Buffalo always thought he had that in him. But again, Buffalo has a very, very, very specific window that they need to win a championship in. And if that's the deal, it's going to get a veteran piece over to Buffalo. It's great for both teams. And honestly, when we saw that happen, we thought it was great for Nielsen as well to show what he can do with a team that's going to be able to allow him to play to his strengths. And Buffalo, again, they have a very specific system and two of the best in the entire world to do it. So it's very hard to play your game when you have those two players that kind of just take everything. But yeah, Damoud, if he wants to hop on over to Buffalo next season, would not be upset.
Saturday, the biggest game of the weekend. 2 11-5 teams, and Colorado gets the big win. It got a bit closer in the second half than we thought it would, but Colorado wins 13-11. It was 4-0 after one. It got to 7-0 and 8-1 at half. It was 11-7, and Saskatchewan got it to 12-11 with 3:27 to go before Hannah scores with 2:28 to go to put it to rest. But Buffalo was able to jump Saskatchewan in this one, and in the next game we'll explain how they got all the way to third. But Sask is on a tumble, and I don't know how to fix it. What's even scarier is there's a realistic possibility that it's Buffalo, Saskatchewan in the first round, and I would not be happy with that.
Yeah, no, don't like that. I did like that both the H's for both teams, Hannah and Haley, both had great games. We're going blow for blow with each other. But yeah, Buffalo was 4-6 in their first 10. Sask was 10-1 before their loss to Buffalo, and Buffalo is now 12-6, and the Rush are now 11-6 after
they're both 11-6. Both 11-6.
Oh, sorry. Both 11-6 after their meeting together. Their two seasons after that overtime win by Buffalo, loss by the Rush, have just gone completely opposite directions. The fact that Buffalo, again, just after that game, there was no thought in my mind that Buffalo would hop Saskatchewan in the standings ever. And to have it happen before the final week is wild.
Last game of the weekend, Sunday Fun Day. San Diego takes down Georgia. You said there was no way Georgia was losing this game, and
there was no way.
San Diego. San Diego does win this one, 9-7, which is another reason why Buffalo is sitting in the third spot right now, is they were able to jump Georgia. Georgia's got a doubleheader next weekend. They're still fighting for a home playoff game, but San Diego's now got some life, and that's big reason why Vegas needed to win, because now they're kind of tied, and it's a home and home. And Teddy is looking like an absolute genius when he said the winner of that game is the series there is probably going to be in the playoffs. He said that from the opening week of the NLL season. Now they're both tied 7-9 with a head-to-head back-to-back game going up in week 21. It's going to be a fun finish to the season.
Yeah, it was a good game by Dobson, but not good enough for that Georgia offense. O'Rig also played well and finally won a low-scoring game. Congratulations to Chris Origlieri. Yeah, I am still completely blown away that San Diego was able to pull that off. I just did not think that their offense, that's looked pretty rough the last few weeks, was going to be able to get anything past Dobson, and they were able to do just enough, and their defense was able to hold Georgia. So very interesting low-scoring game, but again, with the Rush losing and Georgia losing, two games I didn't really see happening per se. Massive changes for Buffalo in the standings.
Final segment here. Sabres 2-game winning streak here. Actually, I think it's 3-game winning streak with Tampa Bay mixed in there, but they beat the Rangers 5-3 on Wednesday. In Columbus, they shut the door, win 5-0, and Colton Ellis, his first shutout of his career, 37-37. Phil, it's looking like at this moment, Montreal's winning, but they'll just jump Tampa Bay in the standings. They'll still be tied with Buffalo in points, but the Buffalo has the edge in the tiebreaker there with regulation wins. It's looking like Ottawa right now. And I'm going to be on Talking Buffalo Monday night after Buffalo versus Columbus. Give that a listen. It's going to go live. But yeah, I guess I don't really have any questions with the Sabres, just that they control their own fate right now. If they win their next two, they get the top seed in the Atlantic. They host playoff games, all the way to the conference finals. They're hitting their stride perfectly. They bounced out of that bit of a rut that they had.
Yep.
And they're looking back like the hockey team. I think it just goes back to, does Carrick come back? Does Oslin come back? Because they have not really looked like the same team without Oslin. Doan playing fantastic. So I'm interested to see how they finish out the season, because you can't have any lulls, because Tampa Bay and Montreal are breathing down your neck.
Yeah, I mean they have to win the last two. It's very
realistic, because Chicago's down there in the standings, and it seems like Dallas is going to be resting a lot of their stars.
Yes. Resting their stars. I get it. I get what you did there. Yeah, I mean, it's weird for the first time in, I think, our entire, for sure our entire podcasting hosting here, that the Buffalo Bandits and Buffalo Sabres are both fighting for very similar things in the playoffs, which is insane and wild.
It's good and bad. What kind of short leash is Buffalo Bandits going to get for a home game? Like, are we going to have to go there on a Sunday?
Hopefully not. Hopefully they can at least pull off a Friday, please. Please no Sunday.
Although it might be beneficial, because I think they start the playoffs at home. So if those start over the weekend, then you're away. Oh, it might match up perfectly. Never mind. It might be bad. Never mind.
Yeah, I hope. I don't know. I hope if it's... if they do like a Sunday at 1:00, I might cry a little bit. I guess the question for you for the Sabres, and then we'll get out of here. But if you had a choice between the Senators and the Bruins, one has won 4 games in Ottawa, and Bruins are on a 5-game losing streak and don't look as strong. Which would you prefer if they jump each other in the standings? They're both even right now, pretty much. Which would you want the Sabres to play if the Sabres win the Atlantic?
I think Boston, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I was leaning Boston
Maybe.
as well if I had to choose.
Yeah.
Either way, no Lightning, no Montreal, please, in the first round.
Very fair. But we'll wrap this one up right around an hour. Good for us. That's what happens, Buffalo, when you have another convincing win, and it was kind of boring. But yeah, this comes out on Monday. Phil's article will be out on Tuesday. Give that a read. It'll be, and any other articles you want to read, all on the website. Give that a read on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got our interview with somebody from Oshawa. Thursday, it is the power rankings and week 21 pick'em. So if you want to participate, again, on X, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can vote. And on Tuesday, Wednesday on Instagram stories is the final week. Thank you again for participating all season long, because that was fun. We'll bring it back next year. Me and the people's picks are going neck and neck. And I think we're both 3 games behind Phil at this point. Then Friday, we'll be back with our preview of Buffalo versus Oshawa, and I'll be making the trek out to Oshawa, be up in the box, do another catwalk type of thing. Not on the catwalk, just there's a catwalk up top.
PK's going to be strutting this stuff.
I'm finishing this show off perfectly, because I didn't start very hot. But yeah, we'll be back Friday with our final preview of the regular season. And please, when we do ask the BSC, when we were going to put that on Wednesday, please don't ask us what Buffalo has to do to have certain seeds. Just go on Graham Parrow's website, because there's too many possibilities. I'm not going to. I'm going to toss
not
it.
That long ago.
I'm going to take that question. I'm going to throw it in the garbage. So if anybody asks that, it's not going to be on the show. I'm sorry. Ask something else. But we'll wrap this one up by thanking everyone for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Go. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Phil's article will be out on there on Tuesday. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you leave us that review on Apple and Spotify. It's a fun time to be a Buffalo sports fan, guys. We're part of it. Till next time. Bye-bye.